Shaping cities, empowering people. We shaping cities,
inspiring people.
We shaping cities. Yeah. We shaping cities steady.
Building from the base. Building from the base.
From the base.
Empowering people. Put the power in their face.
Yeah, power in their face.
Power in their face.
From the block to the top.
Yeah, we level in the space.
City vision, we the
future. Yeah, we stepping in the place.
Yeah. Started with a spark, now the vision, vivid, living proof. From the ground to the grind, had to tighten every move. Spark, proof, grind, move. Turn the losses into lessons, now we leveling the views. Now the city seeing clearly. We the ones they gotta choose. From the pain to the purpose, put the work in with the work.
Working with the work.
Working with the word. Had to plant it in the dirt just to show them what it's worth. Work. We shaping cities steady.
Building from the base.
Empowering people.
Put the power in their face.
Power. Face.
Face. From the block to the top.
Yeah, we level in the space.
City vision. We the future.
Yeah, we stepping in a place. Every block got a plan. Got a plan.
Every plane got a plan.
Got a plan. Turn the fear into fire.
Fire don't fade.
Now we building up a legacy they never could erase.
Erase. We don't fall. Stand tall through it all. Stand tall. Hand in hand, build a plan. Yeah, we answering the call. Answer the call. If we move it as a unit, ain't no limit, none at all.
We shaping cities steady.
Building from the base.
Empowering people.
Put the power in their face.
That power in the people.
Power in the people.
Power in the people.
From the block to the top, yeah, we level in the space.
City vision, we the future, yeah, we stepping in a place. Shaping cities, empowering people.
Shaping cities. Empowering people.
Shaping cities, empower people.
And Dr. Jackson. Can you hear me? Dr. Jackson.
Yes, sir.
Okay, today is one of those hectic days again. Technical difficulties and everything else. Uh, but we still gonna make it work.
All right. Well, that's a good thing. I see. Um, I see Norman. I see David Parr. Earlier on, I saw Cheryl and yourself. Now I see a different gentleman now.
This is the guest, Dr. Lewis invited. What's your name again, sir?
Okay,
MC
no
Larry
problem.
Moody.
Can you hear him?
Yes, this is
Yeah,
MC
MC
Larry
Larry
Moody.
Moody. Well,
Yes.
are we broadcasting live now, or
We
will
live.
do it
All
later?
the flaws and everything else, all broadcast live. So it's a good
Okay.
thing we're here,
Well,
but we are live.
well, ladies and gentlemen, we are here again with Mindful Monday, and backing us up today is a very, very special guest, Mr. Moody, and he'll tell us a little bit more about himself later. Also, as usual, we have ancient Kithmeth history or ancient African history, and of course, David Parr is here with our regular African American history. According to these two scholars, if you don't know where you've been, you don't know where you're going. And in both places, we can say we have an idea about where we've been because of their great expertise. Sage Norman Ross takes us all the way back to the very beginning when we began to talk about ancient African history. And then once we get to America after 1619, we then get an opportunity to talk about African American history. And again, both of them, our esteemed scholars, have made a significant dent in the knowledge base in their respective fields. Norman Ross, so much so that he is called the sage. He was the elder. He was an elder at the only Afrocentric school in the city of St. Louis. Now, he was an elder not because of his age, he was an elder because of the wisdom that he produced. And again, he can talk to you about some of the hieroglyphics and the things that happened in the early days, long before the birth of Christ. One time I asked him, which came first, ancient African history, or did Moses and the biblical rendition of what occurred, which occurred first? And he said, the things I'm talking about came before Moses, because people would go to ancient Kemet to gain knowledge. And at that time, the entire world knew that all of the great things that we have in our past history came from there. And then I fast forwarded after 1619 and began to ask David Parr, well, did it all start in 1619 when the first slaves hit here? And he said, of course not. He said, people have always been treated as chattel. And one of the issues that floated, Mr. Moody, was that because we had the melanin in our skin and we were darker, it was easier for people to understand and to see in living color that we were slaves or descendants of slaves. So again, we're here with the Mindful Monday show, and we've got, as usual, a wonderful, wonderful program for you.
You okay, John?
I think some of the things that are going on in our technology world again help us survive, and then we'll also get some others to come on. So, how was your weekend, Mr. Parr?
My weekend was
Mr. Parr, how
very
was your weekend?
my weekend was very interesting. Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Can
can
you hear?
now.
Okay, my weekend was very interesting. Um, the National Panhellenic Council had a picnic, and it was a fabulous picnic. Um, Enjoying ourselves with all the Divine Nine. That means all the African American fraternities and sororities. That was outstanding. And of course, today I have to let everybody know that today is my granddaughter's 14th birthday. So happy
All right.
birthday to so a happy birthday to you, Mila, and I will see you on Labor Day. And Grandpa has your gifts and everything that you ask him to bring. So, um, yes, I will try to spoil my grandkids. My granddaughter is just entered high school, and she is now in most of her advanced classes and AP classes as a freshman. So I am pretty proud of her. Besides the
Of course.
blistering, besides the blistering heat, and of course it's cooled down some. I had a couple of questions that was asked, and I think John, you alluded to some of the answers of some of the questions that I was asked. One of the questions I was asked by a person who did not know the difference between an African person and an African American person was, why were the black people the focus of chattel slavery? If you don't know what the word chattel means, it means you are a property. Okay, I began to do some deeper research, ran across a lot of articles that were interesting and involved, and saying some of the things that John just mentioned about why people of color from Africa were targeted to be slaves. Very interesting, very interesting reading, which gravitated me to looking up some more information that I heard about the countries that were involved in the slave trade. Almost every major country from the 15th century until the abolition of slavery was involved in the transatlantic slave trade. Almost every major country except Russia and Germany for a while, but Germany ended up building forts in Africa and then selling them to the Dutch. So they got out of these transatlantic slave trade. But that means that most every major country was involved in the transatlantic slave trade. So I began to do a lot of research on that. And then a question hit me, since Russia did not involve itself in the transatlantic slave trade because Tsar Nicholas thought it was immoral, were there any African descendants in Russia? And I found out that in the 1930s, African Americans, because of the oppressive nature of the United States, about 30,000 of them traveled to Russia and lived in Russia. And for a while, they were revered. But I'll get to that in a later Monday. Um, I want to kind of start off with our word for today, if that's okay, John.
Sure.
Okay, our word for today is venture. 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 We're using the verb venture. It can be used as both a verb and a noun, but we're using the verb. It means a risky or daring journey or a project, an enterprise involving a risk, a dare to do something or to know something or go somewhere that may be dangerous or unpleasant. Venture. The word venture comes from the Latin word venturium, meaning about to happen or failure. Over time, it came into the English language about the 1500s to mean a risky undertaking or a bold journey into the unknown. Synonyms for venture are undertaking, enterprise, speculation, gamble, exploit, embark, and risk. Venture. Sentences using venture, if you need examples, as the verb, she dare not venture into the new haunted house. Another one, she was nervous, but decided to venture into the forest anyway. Another one, the company will venture into the European market next year. That is our word for today, venture. VENTURE. Kind of goes with a word that we used several weeks ago, sapient. And I would say that our host, Tavon Brooks, is a very sapient person. Our quote from today is one of my favorite, and it comes from Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou is, for those of you who don't know or have forgotten, was born in St. Louis, Missouri. She says, what you're supposed to do when you don't like a thing is change it. If you can't change it, then change the way you think about it and don't complain. And I think Oprah Winfrey also kind of piggybacked that from Maya Angelou. And she basically said some of the same things. Her quote actually focuses in on a practical guide for emotional intelligence, for personal accountability, and resilience. She says, changing something empowers one to fix a situation if it is wrong. Do not accept bad decisions and situations. Use your energy to help achieve positive solutions. If external factors cannot change your internal response, change your mindset. Venting or vetting without action solves absolutely nothing. So if you see some action happening and you complain about it without doing anything about it, this is what you're saying. That means absolutely nothing. And I've been in situations like that. She said, your choice is either action. If you don't involve action and change it, then you accept whatever consequences occur. That is the quote of the day. I want to get into a couple of things in African American history. Facebook had an article on eight scientists that were forgotten in history, but had a profound effect on mankind. I want to talk about three of those today, and I'll cover the others as we process on our Mindful Monday show. One is a young lady by the name of Alice Ball. Alice Ball was a trailblazing African-American chemist who developed the first successful and widely used injectable treatment for leprosy. She was the first to develop something that you inject into your system to treat for leprosy, an African-American female. She was only 23 years old. She was the first African-American female to earn a master's degree in chemistry from the University of Hawaii and was the University of Hawaii first female and African-American instructor. She died at the age of 24. Some people say from tuberculosis, but some people said she inhaled some chlorine, and that was the thing that killed her. One of the reasons you don't hear about her is because her work was taken, as usual, this happens, her work was taken, and a person who worked with her the president of the university to be exact, put his name on her work and claimed it as his. So therefore, she was forgotten. It took a lot of research. It took a lot of people who were ticked off at the president for doing that to bring this into light. 92 years after she created what she called the Ball effect, 92 years, University of Hawaii finally realized that she was the one who created it, and they honored her 92 years later. There are a lot of people involved in uncovering that. The next person is Dr. Percy Julian. Percy Julian was a pioneering American research chemist who evolutionized modern medicine by discovering how to mass produce life-saving drugs, and he invented the cortisone that you inject and that you take into your body to eliminate pain. An African American did that. He was so popular that when he moved into a white, predominantly white neighborhood, he had his house firebombed twice. That was because of the racism and segregation in this country. He developed the affordable synthetic cortisone, and he developed hormones, including he helped develop testosterone, which you hear a lot about as far as male hormones and sexual hormones are concerned. And he laid the groundwork. The chemistry for birth control pills. An African American did that. You do not hear about them usually in the science books because they were basically ignored and left out because of the oppression and racism in this country. Dr. Ross, and I know you were talking about defaming the African image coming out of Africa. The last person I'm going to talk about is Otis Boykin, who was a very influential inventor and an engineer who patterned over 26 electronic devices. He delivered the electronic controlling device for artificial hearts. You never heard about him. But I'm telling you about him now. Without that electronic controlling device, pacemakers and artificial hearts would not be working. Otis Boykin did that. So that is my narrative about those three. I'll cover the others probably at a later date, hopefully next Monday, even though I'll be out of St. Louis. But I just want to go over a couple of things and tell you to look at some of the things that we printed as far as African American history is concerned, because those are the things that happen on some of those dates. Quickly going over some of those, August 24th, 1884, Dr. John D. McGrath was admitted to the Massachusetts Massachusetts Medical Society. He was the first African American to ever join a medical science society in the United States. And you can look at those. John, and August 24th, 1889, John Messerlinger, the inventor and person who revolutionized the shoe industry, he transitioned or passed away of tuberculosis at the age of 37. So many of our young African American inventors, poets, and musicians passed away at an early age because they could not get all the treatments that the other people got. And of course, look at your list of African American exploits for this period of time. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Like I said, I'll talk about the transatlantic slave trade, which kind of piggybacks on some of Dr. Ross's information, and talk about the Afro-Russian and African Americans in Russia.
Dr. Paul, I have a question. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll wait till you get through with the quote.
Okay. Our quote for today, as always, each morning give the best that you can, because each morning gives you an opportunity for a new start. Get that new start and treat yourselves royally, because treating yourself is probably better than anybody else will do. That's it. Question.
Dr. Paul, I have a statement. It's interesting you mentioned Russia. When I went to Russia, they actually had this area where they have pushed Black Russians. They look like me. You way up in a corner, and you really don't know that there were actually Black Russians until you see them. But it's interesting you say that because about the slave trade with the Russians and Africans. But now my thought is how I guess the 30,000 plus African Americans that went to Russia were pushed up into this corner. But there are Black Russians in Russia.
Right, there are. In fact, one of their poets' grandfather, one of their poets' grandmother is of African descent, and that's Pushkin, who is considered the greatest Russian poet in the history of Russia. There are approximately 30 to 70,000 people of African descent or Africans. Many of them came to Russia. Besides those 30,000 that came from the United States, many of them now come from Africa to Russia. They basically come from places like Ghana, Kenya, Cameroon, and places like that. When the first African Americans got, and I said I'd talk about this later, but since you brought it up, Tavon, when the first African Americans got to Russia, they helped to rebuild some of Russia in the 1930s because that was right after the World War I. They were treated royally. There was no racism in Russia. Any African American who was ostracized, by any Russian, was put in jail. What happened? Stalin happened. Stalin changed all of that. So that's why you don't see as many, and they all have been pushed into one enclave, and now they're facing some of the oppression that the enslaved people here faced when those African Americans left here. And you're so right, Trayvon. They have been pushed into certain enclaves. Even at most of them go to the universities in Russia, but even there they face oppression and being ostracized. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it did.
Well, one of the things for
Yes, it
sure,
did.
yes, one of the things for sure, Dr. Parr, they didn't try to act as though African Americans did not exist, and nor did they try to steal their products. So I think that has been a good thing. So you can weigh it, but again, because of the melanin, that's my theory, in our skin, and made us easy to discern. If you're a person of color, it's real easy for people to hide you or try to hide you. And people that look like Sage Norman Ross, if you look closely, you can tell that he's an African American. However, if you blink your eyes a little bit and put him in the corner, you might not recognize that the Sage is also has some deep
African American roots.
ethnicity
Right.
crossovers and what all that. So
Well,
again, I'm not putting him on the spot. I'm just saying it has been very, very difficult.
Yeah, I have some. I could tell you some stories about
Well, believe it or not,
one of my
even
best
though-
friends, but I'll let that go for another day, because one of my best friends was even lighter than Dr. Ross,
Thank
and he
you.
had some experiences
Wow.
that we used to crack up about. Although he passed away 10 years ago, same year my mom passed. But anyway,
Right.
I
So,
don't
ladies
want
and
to take up
gentlemen,
I don't want to take up anybody else's time. So I just want to mention, if you want some of those stories about my friend, his name is John Hinton. I can tell you stories that were so comical. Just wouldn't believe.
Okay, well, I tell you what, we'll give you on our storytelling time, we'll give you some time to do just that. Well, I was trying to say it, even though we changed our sign-in log and we lost a few people, Dr. Danielle Peoples found the space and found the place to join us. And so, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Dr. Danielle Peoples, the one and only chiropractor that works directly with the National Black Radio Hall of Fame. Danielle, I know you have something special for us today, so we're going to sit back and enjoy your wonderful smile and your wonderful countenance.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. I am Dr. Danielle Peoples, Black Radio Hall of Fame's resident chiropractor. And today I have something special for you. I am going to cover the topic of TMJ, temporomandibular joint dysfunction. And I couldn't do this by myself. Usually my friends come to me, but this time my friend needed me to come to her. So here we are at Trilogy Dental. We're going to go meet the dentist and we're going to talk about TMJ and how it shows up. So follow me through her magnificent, beautiful office. Lovely space. We're going to switch cameras.
While they're switching cameras, thank you, Cheryl Watts, for joining us today. We're always appreciative of seeing your pleasant face as well.
Oh, good afternoon, John and Tavon and Norman and our guest.
Okay, we're going to let Dr. Danielle Peoples, she changed cameras, and she has a wonderful person on with us, with her, and that she's going to introduce her guest, a guest of the greatest guest that we've been having since we started this show. Go on, Dr. Peoples. We can't hear you, Dr. Peoples. Dr. Peoples, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, ma'am. Loud and clear.
So here's the thing. I'm trying to be a video tech, and I'm not. Let's see if we can cut that off.
What's up, buddy?
Yeah, you got to turn one off, doctor.
See, now we're not echoing anymore. Yeah. All right, thank you for being patient with me. I have Dr. Candace Wakefield here from Trilogy Dental. Please tell us who you are because I am butchering this right now. Save me.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Candace Wakefield with Trilogy Dental and Children's Dental Zone here in Florissant, Missouri.
And she's being modest. She hasn't even told you the great part. She recently was awarded what recognition?
St. Louis American newspaper voted me, and St. Louis fans out there voted me for best dentist and best dental practice for St. Louis American newspaper just last month.
Now you're probably wondering, Dr. Peoples, you're a chiropractor. Why are we at the dentist's office? Well, there are some dysfunctions that I deal with that Dr. Wakefield also deals with. But usually I come to you talking about dysfunctions that you can relate to as adults. Well, we're going to talk about dysfunction that not only adults have to deal with, but also our children, and that is TMJ dysfunction. When they show up in my office, they're showing up with, our word for the day is asymmetry, where they're showing up with asymmetry or imbalances that brings them into my office. They may complain of headaches, they may complain of neck pain, maybe I'm not sleeping very well. And sometimes it is sports or something else that brings them in before I examine and uncover that they have TMJ. But Dr. Wakefield, how do they appear in your office?
Well, in my office, they appear, for example, with a headache. They may appear with trouble sleeping. They may appear with habits such as having, any type of asymmetry related to an airway issue. It could also be because they were thumb suckers or had pacifiers when they were younger and didn't realize that as they actually grew up, it caused an asymmetry in the way that they bite. And then over time, that bite, as they grow and develop, has caused an asymmetry in their jaw, which caused a shift in the alignment of the hinge in the joint, which then can affect them in their TMJ joint later on with continued growth and development, and can create problems in the way that the hinge, the opening and closing of the jaw, affects them throughout their lifetime.
And as far as the hinge that she's mentioning, there are muscles that are attached to that joint space. There are 3 muscles that work together to help you chew. We call them the 3 M's that help you munch. So we have the masseter muscle, we have the medial pterygoid muscle, and then we have the temporalis muscle. And that's usually where you're feeling a lot of headache at, because it's a big old fan-shaped muscle on each side of your head that is called the temporalis muscle. But there's another muscle that doesn't help you munch, it's actually help you open your jaw, and that is called the lateral pterygoid. Now, I know these are some names that you're not familiar with, but do know they play a huge role in the functioning of your jaw, okay? Now, jaw dysfunction can happen as early as toddler years, because what's happening during the toddler years? During their toddler years, they're falling as they're learning to walk and even taking off running and playing sports. But Dr. Wakefield, when do you start to see them in your office?
Yeah, well, we start seeing kids very early on, even as early as age 1. But as she mentioned, when a child is sucking and learning how to nurse, they're actually chewing their food, and they're actually nursing using their jaw muscles, as she mentioned, to have that sucking action where they are squeezing their musculature in around either a bottle or even around their thumb, and they're squeezing in their cheeks, pulling in that same muscle that she was describing, causing a constriction of their soft bones in their faces, causing a constriction of that anterior part of their mouth, and also using that same muscle that she just described, the lateral pterygoid muscle, and it's causing a constriction in the anterior portion of the mouth, which is then also squeezing on the bones, causing a softening and a narrowing of the mouth in the anterior portion, which is also leading into a asymmetry that as they grow, it causes a constriction, at which then later on in their lifetime causes an effect on that joint, causing an effect on the alveolar muscles, the alveolar bones all around the face and the joint in general, which causes them to have a different way to bite in the future, which can further cause problems down the line, leading to orthodontic issues.
So the question is, when do you need to get your wee one into the dentist, into the chiropractic office? As soon as they're breathing. Well, maybe not this soon for dental work, but as soon as you can. Even when she mentioned nursing. And yes, chiropractic does help with not only the mother to recover after having a wonderful baby, we're gonna call it wonderful, right? A wonderful baby, but also to help the baby nurse and to adjust to being in the outside world. But I wanted to pick up on something else she mentioned, and that was the fact that it affects breathing. So if you're starting to have shortness of breath, all of those factors can also play a role. Not only do you have the muscles of the actual joint that pulls at the TMJ, but there are other muscles around it. And so breathing could become challenging, such as your accessory muscle you start to utilize them more than necessary to open your mouth and close them and get the air into your body.
Yeah, one of the things that we do starting around age 6 is that we do healthy mouth scans. And basically what we're able to do with a healthy mouth scan is to identify these problems early, because while the children still have their baby teeth and their adult teeth together, the bones are really still soft and pliable. Sort of like when you are small and you have a soft spot in your head and the bone is still soft, you have a suture that runs down the middle of your mouth. And so that suture is still soft. It's almost like working with wet dough. You would not try to shape bread after it's cooked. Just like when you go to the chiropractor, you're not doing these big adjustments when everything's already in a chronic disease state. We're doing things while they're still in a way in which we can make these small adjustments while they're still yet forming. So when the child is around age 6 years old and the baby teeth are still there, as well as the adult teeth, that's the best time to basically set the foundation so that the child does not have to have these big brute forces later on in life when the bread is cooked, or for example, when the concrete before it's set, then you can move teeth, but you can't move bone. So, we want to make sure that we can guide the teeth into the proper spaces while the child is still young, thereby making room for the tongue to lay in the proper position. You can have better room for the airway to be established in a healthier space. You can have the joint to be in a restful spot that it wants to be in for homeostasis, and the muscles can be in a relaxed state. When the hinge is off, that throws off the way the child is biting. The nerves that need to be firing in that area can be in a relaxed state, and then you can have better form and function.
So when it comes to chiropractic, how do we complement such treatment? Well, you may be concerned saying, well, isn't chiropractic a little rough? Actually, chiropractic has numerous techniques, not just the manual adjusting that you're seeing on TV or on social media. I like to tell people I'm not your TikTok doc. Yes, I do know how to manually adjust, but as I've shown you in previous episodes, that I use a tool. But then I also use another technique. It is called the Logan Basic technique. With the Logan Basic technique, I simply apply a light pressure, the amount of pressure that you can stand on your eyeball. I apply that to a ligament in the glute area, and that allows me to reposition any joint within the body. So therefore, I could use this very same gentle technique on a baby or anyone that has been on this earth a very long time and still be very effective. What else do you have? Do you have any additional resources or tools that you may use to help address older people with TMJ, or just older children, not older people?
Sure.
Older children.
Well, the main thing I would say, as far as moving teeth and bone, as we talked about, with Invisalign, something that we like to use that is gentle, that is a slow process with Invisalign that we use for kids, and even with Invisalign for teens. It does a couple of things. Number one, it's a kinder, gentler force. With these clear plastic aligners, each one that you get in a series is able to move teeth by 0.25 millimeters. That's very small. When you think about traditional braces to align teeth into their proper position, that's a more aggressive approach compared to Invisalign. You get a series of these in a series, and what it does is over time, it expands the mouth into where the teeth actually want to go. If you were to think about the space and the thickness of this aligner, when you have it on your upper and your lower jaw, think of it like a night guard. When you put this in between your upper and your lower teeth, it creates a space, a gap between your joint space, and it causes a type of comfort there that puts your joint in the proper position so that you're not grinding your teeth, you're not clenching your teeth. You don't really get that restful space that's there as you would if you were to have traditional braces. So it creates a rest gap there. It puts the joint in a healthier position so that you can have better form and function. Some people wear night guards. They have a hard and soft night guard that can also help with TMJ. Some people like to use warm and hot compresses just to give that joint some rest and function. But it really is about getting the teeth in the proper position. And that really does help. So even if a person does have some minor TMJ problems, is what is really going to help overall is to be able to have the teeth in occlusal balance. So you may be hitting hard in one area or another. You may grind your teeth, you may clench your teeth, but if your teeth are not in the proper position, if you're not in the proper form and function, if that hinge is off and you're biting, cattywampus, as they say, if your teeth are not properly touching one another, that is still going to affect that joint. So when you're trying to bite down on something, if you're not biting down evenly, you're going to stress the joint, you're going to stress the muscle. So you need to have occlusal balance. If you're missing a tooth on one side and not on the other side, and then your teeth start to drift into one direction or the other. So you need to have a balance in everywhere. If you have a cavity on one side and you haven't gotten it fixed, if you're missing a tooth and you haven't gotten it restored, everything needs to work together in order to create balance. So you can't just fix one problem. You need to kind of go to the dentist and get all of your issues addressed. It's not a Jiffy Lube type situation, just like the rest of your body. You can't just fix one thing. You need to see a dentist for comprehensive care and look at everything as a whole, because your body is a system.
That was the perfect segue into, as you will see, as I'm teaching you about your spine, I am not limiting myself to just balancing your body. We need to balance it all. It includes chiropractic, dental, and even more. And I continue to bring those to you. Dr. Wakefield, please just thank you so much for giving me your time in your day. She's super busy. You think I'm busy? She's extremely busy. And I had to come to her just to get her in. You can contact me at stlprohealth.com, or you can give me a phone call at 314-607-9150. I'm at Pro Health Family Chiropractic, 2315 Pine Street, Suite number 2. And where can they find you?
I'm at Children's Dental Zone _ Dr. Candy, and we're at 13410 Newhalls Ferry Road, right here in Florissant.
Well, that will be our time. Does anyone have any questions for us?
You have been most thorough, and thank you for inviting your guest. We're going to try to do something special for her because she came through very clearly.
Thank you.
I hang with magnificent people, and I bring them on my magnificent.
Well, we know that, Dr. Peoples.
But thank you all for this wonderful.
We're just so glad you're willing to share your wonderful people.
Yes, not a problem. Well,
okay.
Hold you all.
Okay, thank you. Louis, do you want to introduce your guest, or do you want Cheryl? Cheryl, are you busy this morning too?
I'm ready to introduce my guest, Dr. Jackson.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Forth.
All right. I'm pleased to introduce a very good friend of mine for numerous years, George Larry Moody. He is everything. He writes music. You've heard a lot of his music on the Cardinals introductions to their, and I'm gonna let Larry tell you everything else about him, but with no further ado, Larry Moody. Thank you, Larry.
I'm glad to be on the show right here with you and Tavon and Clint. Yes, I'm artist, entertainer, MC Larry Moody. Yes.
In the camera right there.
Yeah. I'm artist, entertainer, MC Larry Moody. I'm proud to say that I have 40 plus of writing, entertainment, and music. And I just kept going. Wow, I got a letter back from the president. I got Famous Americans. I got stuff to show you here, my CDs and everything. And been on television, Fox 2 News, Channel 5. I got a chance to do John Perseborn, 50th birthday party. I was with, Quinn Records, and, Quinn gave me a call and he said, Larry, Randy Norton of Fox 2 News trying to get a hold to you. So they said they want me to come on Fox 2 News and surprise John Perseborn about his years of music. So it all worked out for me. I had a week to put it together. So they brought me on live. I did it, birthday, it's actually on YouTube, pushing over like 25,000 views. And Randy Norton told me, she said, Larry, we could have got Nelly, the Smash Band, but we actually picked you because you done so much for St. Louis with, with music. That was a great start for me. And, hosted a lot of shows, my songs for the Cardinals, 4 songs for the Rams. Wow. And the list just goes on and on. So any questions, it's fine. I got CDs to show you. And my latest project, I just completed. It's my song called Party Song of the Year. My artist out of Kansas City, Zoe the Jerk, he teamed up with me. We actually did the recording April 18th, and we did the final radio play April 24th. And it's a great song. And I just had an interview Saturday with Kevin Kev at Foxy 106.9. I was at the radio station on Saturday, and they working with the program director now to get my song on the radio and playing. It's a great song. The song is about the hottest female singers around the world: Beyonce, Alicia Keys, Erykah Badu, Katy Perry, and the list goes on and on. But it's a great song. I'm the writer, curator, and the executive producer. My team helped me put it together. My producer, Chris Green, he's a genius on the guitar. So we go from there.
I guess at this point, well, with that being said, I know there's some questions, Larry. One of the things, how do you get started in this industry? Where'd you start? Did it start in high school, or how did you get involved with this? You're just like Tavon. You have a multiplicity of talents, and you can do basically anything and everything. So how did you get started?
Well, as growing up and everything, it's kind of funny. Like I used to walk into grade school and class school, and the kids used to say, "Hey, Larry, can I get your autograph?" And I always did music small. I did comedy too. I can do comedy. So when I was living in 1983, when I was staying at Oakmont Townhomes, right, I was looking at all these rappers, Curtis Blow, Run DMC, the Dream Team. I said, wow, man, MC, I know you can get out there, make it happen. So the first thing I did, I put a project together called Rap of the World. It was a multi-million-dollar project I put together involving Curtis Blow, LL Cool J, Houdini, Run DMC, and all these great rappers. And it was a positive message to bring the world together with love and care. But unfortunately, we know how the industry is, right? When I got out here and started promoting the project, and I met Eddie Murphy, Run DMC, Salt and Pepper, and all these people, they actually went behind my back and stole the concept of the idea. The song that came out, we're all in the same game, and they put a 1 on this. So long story short, I filed a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against Warner Brother Records, and my lawyer was Terrence Krebs, but they got me on the concept of the idea. But that's okay, because the song Rap of the World ended up being in the song for Obama. When I did the first song for Obama, Reflect Before You Elect, Obama's on Deck. Then I did the song follow-up, Respect and Protect, Obama's on Deck. But that's how the industry is, though. It was a great project. The project was worth $1 million, and it said, people of the world, let's come together. Love your sisters, friends, and brothers. We all were here, united as one. Listen, everybody, let's have some fun. Let's come together with love and care. We at the end of time, we have to share. It's the Rap of the World. It was a positive message, and I was the writer and creator. I didn't even rap on it. Curtis Blow, LL Cool J, Houdini, Salt and Pepper, the Dream Team, everybody had a part on the project. Yeah. So that's when I got started, my big project.
So I have a question. By me being in the music industry and have a passion for music, how important, or I would say the music today compared to how it was, do you feel music is influencing the children of today and what's going on?
Yes.
And do you have an idea on how can we fix the music of today to empower the people how we used to be? We used to hear songs of Earth, Wind & Fire, and even Curtis Blow, LL Cool J, old school rappers. They had a message to their rapping. So what are your thoughts today compared to how music used to be?
Well, my thoughts today is for the music to be positive, for the music to be clean. So these kids nowadays don't get the idea of all these shooting guns and all this here. But I notice now it's really changing now. The format is, it's not as bad as it used to be, but you got some underground rappers that steady putting music out that I know won't hit the radio, maybe satellite radio, but all my music, I can truly say, Tavon, to say everything that I wrote is clean and edited for the world. So I will say positive music, gospel, good music. Yeah, that's what I really say, just to really, kind of help our world and kind of change the franchise of the world right now.
So what would you say to those upcoming music artists, producers, rappers in today who's coming up in the music industry, who some believe that they're going to meet the Illuminati, they're going to get this, they're going to get that. So what do you say to someone who's trying to be positive in the music industry and make a living when they believe you can't be positive and successful in the music industry?
Well, you can be positive and successful. Yes, I would truly say, keep your music clean. Don't let nobody discourage you. Young people today, they're writing music. Keep your music clean, keep it positive, and get with some of the top producers who, who can help you. Don't let nobody discourage you. That's what I did. I didn't let nobody discourage me. And like I say, everything that I wrote is positive, clean, and it's edited for the world. So that's what I would say to these young people out here. Keep writing, keep going, keep your dream alive. Don't ever get discouraged.
One of the things I wanted to tap into is Dr. Jackson. A lot of folks don't know, but Dr. Jackson, Dr. John Eddie Jackson, is an accomplished trumpet player and musician, and his brother Charles also, and so that runs in the family. But John, I know you have a lot of things that you want to ask Larry about music, and so you have some time right now if you have any questions.
Well, I'd like to make sure that we get Cheryl Watts on because she has something to do. I have 5 or 6 questions to ask her. I think Tavon started it off. Is Cheryl Watts still in the studio? Tavon.
She was there. I don't know. She stepped away. It looks like she stepped away from her. We can come back to her because we are 10 minutes in. So we have about 3 or 4 more minutes, John. You can go on and ask your question.
Two things, and it sides on the. It is in the same dilemma as the question, or same area, is not only being positive. How can we inspire young people to not only be positive in their music, but to become musicians? And Jacques Attali always says that the people that are in the fine arts are always ahead of the curve. So how can we teach young people to not only do the right thing, but to pursue many of these areas in the performing arts? That's the question I'd like to first pose to you.
Yes, and I would truly say, I just think that everybody is blessed with a special talent. I just really think that if it's drums, guitar, being a producer, being a writer, being a singer, I just think you just have to find your dream, find what you do. I just think everybody is blessed with a certain talent. If it comes to music, if it comes to writing, that's what I did. When I seen that I could write, I could perform, I can act, I can sing, and then you find your spot where you definitely what you feel you can do. So it's a lot of young talent out here, and it's a lot of talent that's been unseen, and sometimes people don't get a chance to go on TV, go on the radio, or get interviewed. So just follow your dream, and it's a lot of young talent out here that can really make it in this world.
Will you? My second question: will you be joining us on a monthly or weekly? Because what we want to try to do is to begin to find young people that are interested in utilizing their gifts, and we need somebody to encourage them, push them forward. And according to Dr. Cross, he says that you are one of the best motivators that he's seen in a long time. And so one of the reasons that he invited you on was so that you'd have a permanent space and place. And again, we know our segment is getting longer and longer and more diverse and more diverse, but we know that, as you said, if we can find people that have a special talent and help them realize their talent and do it in a positive way, it can make all the difference in the world. So my question is, how much time are you going to try to give us? And because Tavon is still waiting for that real big check that
I have no problem.
And the bonus. And the bonus that Lewis and I promised him long time ago, but he's been waiting for 6 years now. So I don't want you to get too excited. But tell us about the time that you might be able to help us with.
So you want to do every Monday?
Yeah, I can do every Monday, 2 times a month. My time is open and everything. And you actually touching on something, because I would like to speak as an activist. I would like to speak, to young kids and all that. And the thing about it, I would truly say this here. When I do speak to them, I don't know what their dreams want to be. I wouldn't even tell them that I'm an artist entertainer. I say whatever that will come last, because I want to put them first and say, if you might want to be a scientist, you might want to be a lawyer, you want to, you want to might be a mechanic. So everybody can be an artist, entertainer, writer, producer. But if you do have that dream, that's fine. Follow your dream.
Okay.
So we'll be looking forward to you at least twice a month, maybe 4 times a month. And what we'll try to do is begin to work with some of the schools. As a matter of fact, Norman Ross has a very, very special music program that he wants to do in the schools. I can very well see that you and Sage Ross, along with Dr. Cross, can begin to do some things that will make a difference in the lives of talented young people. And if you're not talented, challenging folk to find that key, find that piece that will make a difference in your life. So we look forward to having you join our staff, and want to thank Dr. Cross. He said, I got somebody that's going to be good for us. And he's done that with in several cases. So we're looking forward to you joining us. Thank you so much in advance.
Okay, that's our time, and thank you all so much. I want to say I'm going to tease you right now. Next week we'll have Larry on, but we also have Jermaine Andre coming on sometime this month. He's a premier 7th degree black belt in karate. He does so many things. He's a bodyguard for the Stars, and he teaches hand-to-hand combat, and he can do this right on the air. So stay tuned. We have some interesting people to come on our show. And thank you all so much for your time.
Thank you. Let's see if we have Cheryl. I hope she didn't have to leave, because she too has a very, very busy schedule. The one thing that I learned is that if you really want something done well, you get somebody who's premiering their skill in their skill set, and they're very busy. And then when they come on, they get right to the point. You heard our visitor today, got right to the point, told us what he was about. And then of course, my job, when Lewis hooks them in, I try my very best to make sure that we give them some space so they can utilize their talents. Is Cheryl gone, or?
Yeah, she's not here at the moment.
Okay,
she
at
was
this
on,
point then.
She was on, John, but
I got some plaques in there that I bought that can be on the next show. Yeah.
Okay, I hear him talking about planning for the next show. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, at this point, we will bring to the stage none other than Sage, Elder Norman Ross. He is, as I said, a wise man. He is our ancient African history person. So, Norman, in your normal way, come to us.
Oh, okay. Let's see. I want to give a shout out to the Mindful Monday podcast audience, as well as to my co-host of the podcast. And I want to return or leave where we left off last Monday in talking about, well, we had a very extensive conversation on the defamation, the defaming of Africa and African Americans, as well as the Black diaspora worldwide. And I'm going to go. I wanted to say something about how we use words describing ancient Kemet. What we call, the English term is, we use the English term Egypt, but ancient Kemet literally is what the ancient Kemetic people called their civilization, what they called their country, and what have you. Another word that is widely used is the Greek term pharaoh. The word pharaoh is a Greek foreign corruption of the name of the king of ancient Kemet. The actual, when you go into the Medu Neter, what the Greeks called hieroglyphics, the actual spelling of the word is N-S-W-T, and you would pronounce it as Nesut. Okay, so what the Kemetic people called their kings, they called them the Nesut. Okay, but the common use, what we commonly call the kings of ancient, what we call ancient Egypt, is Pharaoh. And what I would like us to start doing is using the actual classical names of not only ancient Kemet, but ancient Kush, as well as a lot of the other ancient African civilizations, including ancient Ethiopia and ancient Punt, and so on and so on. So we want to use the actual names. I'll give you another example. There were quite a number of ancient Kemetic kings that were literally renamed by the Greeks. One of those was King Thutmose III, which is a Greek word. His actual name was Tahuti Mase III. Okay, the Greeks called him Thutmose III, as well as, in some cases, Thutmosis III. And how did this, where did they get the name from? Well, the god of intelligence, the god of writing, and the god of recording was the Kemetic god Tahuti. And he's usually featured as with a man's body and the head of an ibis bird. And during the last judgment, where people are testifying before God that they have done no wrong, he is the one that's recording their testifying statements and what have you. So Tahuti is a very important god, but the Greeks called him Thoth, from which we get the English term thought. Okay, so it's very important that we study and really serious determine what the original classical Kemetic African name was. Another example is a number of other gods, but I'm not going to go into that because that's going to get long and what have you. I will go back, if I can bring up my PowerPoint presentation. Let's see, okay. I want to go back because we left off at Ramses II, who was the son of this Nesut or king, Seti I. Okay. And this king, Ramses I, I want to talk about because this is very important to understand. When the Middle Kingdom ended in 1782 BCE, there was, right after that, ancient Kemet went into a period of political disunity, famine, drought, as well as there were civil war situations going on. During this chaotic period, which was called the first intermediate period, during this period, there was a group of invading Semitic Asiatic people who came from the Palestinian Syria area of the Middle East. They came in and invaded. Previous to their invasion, there was a very strong migration of Asiatic Semitic people into Egypt, and they were assimilated into the Egyptian civilization and culture and what have you. But at the end of the Middle Kingdom, when there was all this chaos, eventually there was a strong group of Asiatic Semitic people out of the Syrian Palestinian area who came into Egypt, and they took over northern Kemet. The indigenous ancient Kemetic people still had control of the southern half of ancient Kemet, and their city that they ruled from was the city of Waset. These new Asiatic people who were called the Hyksos, they congregated in northern Kemet, and their capital city was the city of Avaris. And they ruled from that city. So ancient Kemet was cut in half, one part ruled by the Hyksos, the other part ruled by the indigenous ancient Kemetic people. And for 108 years, these Hyksos controlled Egypt. So there was a lot of assimilation. There was a lot of intermixing of the Kemetic people with these Asiatic people for 108 years. Okay, in 1570, the Hyksos were defeated and kicked out of Egypt, and then you begin the 18th dynasty, which is what King Seti, he begins the 19th dynasty, but during the 18th dynasty, we talked about King Tutankhamun, Queen Hatshepsut, the first great woman ruler in world history. And we talked about King Tahuti-Mese III, who European historians call the Napoleon, because he conquered so much territory. He greatly expanded the Kemetic Empire. And so we want to say that King Seti I, the reason he began, well, not King Seti I, Ramses I, he begins, the father of King Seti I, he begins the 19th dynasty, and dynasty is a term for family blood, control and royalty. He begins a new dynasty because he came out of the city of Avaris, which had strong Asiatic influence and what have you from the Hyksos people. And so King Seti creates this new dynasty, which is a Kemetic Asiatic mixture. But the kings, to become a king, a legitimate king, they generally married the wife or the sister or the relative of the previous king, and that would legitimize their rulership. And so King Seti I, who was the father of Ramses I, and let's go to Ramses I. These are other pictures of King Seti I, and this is his temple. But we left out during the reign of King Ramses II. This is the great King Ramses II, usually referred to as Ramses the Great, because there were he sponsored a lot of military campaigns, and he did a lot of building of temples, new temples in ancient Kemet, as well as he kind of like expanded a lot of monuments, made a lot of statues of himself, and some of the biggest statues in ancient Kemet were made by him. Okay, and this was the son of King Seti I. So King Ramses II, literally part of the 19th dynasty, is literally a mixture. He is a mulatto, a mixture of Asiatic and indigenous African. Okay, this is one of the largest, the head of one of those large statues of King Ramses II. And this is another shot of that. And this is an individual statue of smaller statue of King Ramses II. This is a statue of King Ramses II when he was a child, and he is being protected by the hawk god, Heru. The hawk represented the god Heru, who the Greeks called Horus, because Horus was the son of the Greek name of the father, which was Osiris. The mother was called Aset. Their Kemetic names, their original Kemetic names was Osiris, was Osar, Isis was Aset, and Horus, the son, was Heru. But you notice I'm using the ancient Kemetic name of the hawk, which represented the god Heru. This is a younger statue of when he was probably a teenager, a youthful Ramses II. And we talked about this last time, and because I wanted to demonstrate that the ancient Kemetic people were a Black African people, because when you look, here are the Egyptian soldiers are on chariots, and they are battling the Hittite soldiers, who are an Indo-European people. And you look at the skin color of the Hittites, and you see a very light skin color because they were Indo-European. You look at the skin tones of the Egyptians, and you see a dark copper brown color because they were Black Africans. Here's another picture of King Ramses II. And these are those large statues of King Ramses II. And this is an aerial view of those statues. Right before you go into Kush or Nubia, when you enter Nubia from the on the Nile, these statues are there near the boundary between ancient Kemet and ancient Kush. To show you how large these statues are, you can see the tourists who are climbing down at the feet of the statue. And these are those large statues of King Ramses II. This is another view of King Ramses II, showing his Africoid, his African features. And this is a minor temple which was dedicated to his wife, Queen Nefertari. This was her temple complex. And this is an area view of that temple complex on the Nile River. And this is a statue right next to the huge statue of King Ramses II. He has this real small statue next to his leg of Queen Nefertari. That was his chief major queen. And this is a picture of Queen Nefertari. And I talked about this last Monday, where you have Queen Nefertari playing the board game Senet, which is the precursor to chess. Chess was also invented in ancient Kemet, but you have to go, this is during the latter part of the New Kingdom period. And this is one of the other wives of King Ramses II. And this is a third wife of King Ramses II. But his major wife, his chief wife, was Queen Nefertari. This is the mortuary temple of Ramses II. See how large it is and what have you. And a lot of these major temples were built on the desert part of the land. And as you can see, on the dark soil, on the fertile soil of ancient Kemet, that's where they grew their crops, which was right next to the Nile River. But they built their large temples generally on areas of the desert. This is a second temple of Ramses II, and what the Greeks called Abydos, but the Kemetic name for that town was Abduju. And this is another temple of Ramses II. As you can see, a caravan of camels going by. And this is a wall relief, a stone relief. And down here at the bottom, all of Ramses II's sons are featured or whatever. He had many sons. He had many sons. Okay. And this is the images of the Sim priest Ka-M-Wezi. Now, when I did the research on Ka-M-Wezi, it looked like this could be the character that we called Moses. This could be Moses, because when it came time for him to replace his father after his father's death, he refused. He refused to become king, and he wanted to become a Sim priest as part of the Kemetic priesthood. He was also historical research that was done on him stated that he probably is the father of archaeology, because he did a lot of research on the ruins of the past golden ages of ancient Kemet, the past temples and the past statues. He did a lot of study and research. And there are a number of Egyptologists that refer to him as the first archaeologist. But I also want to, and I'm going to do this at another time, I want to get into why this may be the character that we call Moses. Because it was during the reign of King Ramses II that this character existed, and this was a son of King Ramses II, and the exodus of the Israelites was supposed to occur during the reign of Ramses II. This is an alabaster jar and an amulet of the Sim priest Ka'im Wesi. And when you look at his facial features, you can see the Black African features. This is the door of a tomb of a workman. This was a workman who worked in, when it says necropolis, you're talking about, the graveyards, the tombs and the graveyards. And this was a worker. On the door of his tomb, he had these colorful paintings of him and his wife, and they are playing the board game Senet. This is the precursor to the game chess, which was invented in ancient Kemet. You have a lot of historians will say, when I did the research, they say, or when you look up the the origins of the game, the board game chess, they would say that, well, we don't know, what the original origin was, but we believe that maybe India was the birthplace of chess. And this is not true. This board game chess was invented in ancient Kemet. More of that defamation of ancient Kemet. This is both doors, both of these swing doors were the tomb of this tomb workman. And this is inside his tomb. And you see how, colorful are the paintings and what have you, talking about his life and talking about the gods and who he worshiped and what have you. This is a small statue of him, and you can see that he is a, Black African. And this is a close-up of another statue, wooden statue of this workman. Okay, this is the daughter-in-law of that workman. This is her coffin. And she was named after the wife of Osiris. So you see the Greek name Isis, but the actual Kemetic name was Aset, A-S-E-T. And Aset was married to Osar, who the Greeks called Osiris. And their son was Haru, who the Greeks called Horus. This is a very interesting statue that's in the St. Louis Art Museum. And this is a statue, a mummy mask, of during the time of King Ramses II, this is when this existed. Tavon, John, is my time up or?
Yes, but it was getting so interesting to us that we wanted to kind of let you flow, but your time is up.
Oh, okay.
So-
Go. I would advise those, go to the St. Louis Art Museum and you'll see this statue. There was a controversy because the country of Egypt wanted this statue back, and they made claims to the St. Louis Art Museum that, we want you to return this statue because it was illegally taken out of Egypt. So I will, stop there, and we will continue this next Monday.
Thank you so much, Sage. It is, again, every time you talk, it illuminates our vision and our understanding of ancient Kemet. Again, thank you and Dr. Parr for your historical perspectives. Well, let's check and see. Is Cheryl Watts available? And if she's not available, I can understand. She's a college professor now, and she has classes. And if we didn't get her in early, we may not work her in. Also, is Merlin available? Tavon? Well, I guess then I have to give you the piece that Dr. Cross likes, and this is the piece where I try to share my screen and we talk about funding possibilities, funding opportunities. So let me share my screen. Now I'm taking this directly from our show, which any person can receive if they really want to track us or whatever. And if you want some specific things from our show, let us know. One of the things that we do, Dr. Parr doesn't have enough time to do it, but he highlights every date from Saturday prior to the show. I mean, Sunday prior to the show up until the day we go on, and he highlights notable things that happen in African American history. Like on August 23rd, historian Carter Woodson inaugurated the Negro History Week. UN delegate Edith Sampson on August 24th became the first Black delegate to the United Nations. And if you want to know more about those, write in and we will send you a day-by-day occurrence of significant events in Black history. So we just don't want to just send it to people. We want to make sure that that is a request. And we go all the way, for instance, we go all the way to August 29th. For instance, Dave Parr, did you know that Charlie Parker's birth was born on August the 29th, 1920?
The great Charlie Parker.
And then in addition to that, the March on Washington on August the 29th, 1963, with approximately more than 500,000 people participated in the historic event advocating for civil rights and economic justice.
We need another one of those.
Well, okay, you're probably right. Organize it and we will come. The National Council of Negro Women was founded by Mary MacLeod Bethune, August 27, 1935. So these are all things that we can send you and let you check out the efficacy. How accurate is it? Because in many cases, Dr. Pars found errors in some of the information provided by historians, and those errors, of course, make for a story in and of and by themselves. Now, let us get to the notice of funding opportunities. I hope you can see my screen.
Not yet.
Not yet. Let's go back because we should be able to see my screen. Well, I'm not getting a clear picture even on my end. If you recall, last time we talked about the Wahlberg Youth Foundation. We also talked earlier about the Deaconess Senior Foundation. The Deaconess Senior Foundation opens September the 1st and closes September the 29th. The Wahlberg is a rolling grant. And when we say rolling, it means that the group continues, or the foundation continues to do something with it until they have either exhausted funds or they keep moving the date so that it's a month and applied a certain amount of time. Then there are some other funding sources that we talked about. We also talked about the Draper Richards Kaplan Foundation, and it's a global philanthropic foundation, and it's primarily support of ideas and things in America, but also support can be for Africa, Europe, India, and other places in the United States. And it is one of those rolling grants as well. Now, today I wanted to talk a little bit more about the Nathan Cummings Foundation, NCF. And I know you don't see my screen and you just hear my voice. It is a foundation that is actually a rolling one as well. And you have to send them a grant or a grant letter of intent. And then it will say, your idea is a good one, we'll look at it. That doesn't mean they'll fund it, but they will look at it. And so if you're interested in any of these, let me know. We will be having, as Sage Ross talked about, we will be having some sessions. So if you want to know more about any of these particular grants, we won't do it on the Mindful Monday show. We'll do it after another day, and we'll go into detail. The Regions Bank, and many of you know this bank, they have a community engagement fund, and they actually have a rolling grant, and it's with a focus on financial wellness, education, training, and resources, financial planning, and asset building, and there's no deadline. They do provide money for the state of Missouri and the state of Illinois for all of our recipients. In Norman, there's a foundation named after you, the Norman Foundation.
Oh,
we're gonna
my namesake.
Yeah, we're gonna do this one, and then we're going to make sure that next time we have this information so that anybody that wants it can actually see it rather than hearing my voice. But the Norman Foundation supports efforts that strengthen the ability of communities to determine their own economic, environmental, and social well-beings, and that help people control those forces that affect their lives. And in that case, These efforts may promote economic justice, development through community organizing, coalition building, policy reform efforts, and environmental issues, and all of that organizing national and international reform efforts. And the only problem with this one, Norman, and I know it's because of your bloodline, they priority is given to organizations with annual budgets of under $1 million. So those rich folk can't get richer with this foundation. But again, that's the Norman Foundation. If any of you are wanting information about any of those, actually text us the information where you want it sent, and we will send that information. And starting sometime in September, we're going to have show and tell sessions where we actually spend 15, 20 minutes on the various grants that are out there. And this is a piece that that many of us have been thinking about trying to do, so we should be in good shape. So I think
John.
that yes.
Yeah, is the Norman Foundation a Missouri foundation?
Yes, Norman.
Oh, okay.
No, it is a national foundation.
A national
And,
foundation.
Oh, okay.
It yeah, I think I might be able to pull it up. Let me try. Can you see this one, or is it too small?
It's too small.
Well, let me pull it up a little large, make it a little larger.
Or I can
because
get
I
back
know-
get back with you at another time and get the information.
But you can widen your screen out too, if it'll help.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me a minute and let's see if I can do something. Well, I'm gonna have to widen. It's not allowing me to widen my screen, and that's too bad. Because if I could, it would. Let's see if I can do it this way.
If you see where it says, right, that's the,
Okay, can you see it better now, Norman?
Yes.
Okay, I was able to widen my screen. The Norman Foundation supports efforts that strengthen the ability of communities to determine their own economic, environmental, and then I talked earlier about economic justice, development through community organizing, and work to prevent disposal of toxins in the communities, and to link environmental issues with economic and social justice. So it is also one of those foundations that does not have a break-off point in terms of a deadline, but I would suggest that you write a letter of interest, a LOI, and then see if they will look at that which you are wanting to do. I'm going to get back to StreamYard, and I'm going to stop sharing. And we have a couple more things that we'd like to do. Tavon, are you able to pull up something funny? And there was a QVC blooper that I thought was interesting. Are you able to pull that up?
I'm checking
Tavon?
now. You sent it to my
If you're
email?
able to pull that up, you will hear some language that normally shouldn't go on the TV, but it wasn't curse words, but it was something funny. And one of our staunch listeners sent it to me, and so I sent it and put it It's near the end, something funny. And then
I am
and then
checking
ask
now. Give me 1 second.
okay. If you can find it, we'll share it. And after we share it, then we'll let Tavon close us down with music because we don't have much time left, Norman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dr. Jackson,
And
I can't get to it at the moment.
Okay. Well, at this particular point, you close us out with the either theme song or the piece that you did for the Obamas.
I think what I'm gonna do, because I have received some people call me, ask me about the video, so I'm going to just let you all enjoy the video.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and
Dr.
what a
Cross,
beautiful
we
day.
thank you for your
Yes.
efforts today.
nothing
in
like a
terms of
project
getting
Yes.
by
new
my
people.
husband to bring out the sun. Let me start by thanking Addison for that magnificent introduction and for exemplifying the heart, excellence, and determination that has blossomed right here on the South Side for a very long time. I also want to send some love to everyone who made this day a reality. The construction workers, landscapers, designers, the architects, artists, chefs, our staff, our board members, our donors. Barack and I simply cannot thank you enough for the care and brilliance you poured into every square inch of this campus.
You looked me in my eyes and said, I can't promise the whole wide world, but I'll give you a life worth living, a story that's still unheard. And somehow through the highs and lows, through every storm we'd see, you gave me more than I imagined. You gave the world to me. Every step, every scar, every mountain we climbed, you never lost yourself, not one single time. You stood through the fire, never changed your name, never let the pressure steal your flame. When the world kept watching, hoping you'd fall, you stood a little taller through it all. You carried hope where others carried fear. You led with love year after year. You didn't just survive the storm, you showed us who you are. 8 long years inside the furnace, still your heart remained the same. The heat revealed your truest colors, it never burned away your name. Grace under pressure, calm through the noise, strength wrapped inside humility. Every challenge only proved the depth of your integrity. They questioned where you came from, they questioned who you were, they questioned if you belonged at all. But every lie met quiet courage, every doubt met steady purpose. Every attack became another reason to stand even taller. Never bitter, never broken, never giving hate a home. You stood through the fire, never changed your soul, never let the darkness take control. When history called you, answer strong, showing all of us where we belong. You turned the pressure into grace, you gave the world a stronger place, not because you never struggled, but because love always led the way. You once promised me an interesting life instead. You gave me a life
God bless you, and God bless this country we love.
Thank you all for joining the Mindful Monday show. As you can see, this is a City Vision production by none other than our own host, Tavon Brooks. Again, join us this coming Monday for another Mindful Monday show. Thank you very much.